Hey, it's Erica. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming to you and I'm looking very orange. I'm having another Chelsea from Teen Mom situation happening. My hair is also doing some things. It's doing some things right now. It's the end of a work day. I just got ready as fast as I could because after I film this, I have to run out to make it in time for my friend's birthday dinner. And this is, I don't know, like the only time I'm gonna be able to film this week, at least for a video like this. I'm gonna try to cram in a second video after I film this one. We'll see how it goes. I can't make any promises. So today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in both November and December. I didn't read very many in November. I think maybe I read like maybe 4, which is fine. Like holiday time, my schedule was all over the place. But then I read a ton of books in December, so I figured I would just do them all together. I'm looking at my little list down here. I'm gonna be just putting up pictures of the covers for the books that I have read. Ooh, this light really, that kind of balances out the glow from my phone, balances out the orange hue that I've got going on. So how many books? Give me just a second. I'm gonna count how many books I read in November and December. Man, okay, I'm gonna like edit out how much time that just took, but like just take my word for it that it took me way too long to count the number of books. I keep this on a spreadsheet. Literally, I could have just done the math with the spreadsheet lines, but I am on the struggle bus today. So anyway, I read 19 books between the 2 months. That's a lot. So I'm not gonna, there's a couple of these where they are books within the same series, so I won't do them separately. I'm going to end up just kind of talking about those all together. So we're going to, fingers crossed, make this so it's not like a 2-hour video, although we'll see how it goes. I can't make any promises. So I did DNF 2 books, and one of them I'm not sure, actually both of them, I guess now that I look at them, both of them I'm not sure if it's like a permanent DNF or not. You know, I'm gonna put my phone down so maybe that'll help with the weird glare, and now I'm just like full orange. Anyway, so the first one that I DNF'd is Blood of the Old Kings. That's by, see, now it's too far away. Oh God, I got all problems today. I'm just gonna hold it up. There's gonna be a weird glowy haze coming from underneath my chin. Blood of the Old Kings by Sung Il Kim. This I was really excited to read, but I got maybe about 50 pages in. This is translated. I think my problem was possibly with the translation. It seemed to, the writing itself, and I think it was mostly because of the translation, felt very kind of disconnected from the story that it was telling. It's really hard for me to describe what I mean, but it just didn't really have, I don't know, the human connection behind it. I mean, I've read plenty of translated works and I don't always have this experience. In fact, I don't know that I can think of another translated book where I've had this kind of feeling before, so maybe it's not the translation. I don't know. But it didn't connect for me. I don't know if maybe I just wasn't in the mood for it or what. I'm willing to give it another try at a later point, but I DNF'd for now. The other DNF that I guess I should say, when I DNF a book, typically I don't rate it because I think DNFing it, at least for me, speaks for itself. It means that like it wasn't good enough for me to even like want to keep reading, so it doesn't even fall on the number scale as far as I'm concerned. The second one that I DNF'd, and man, I was like super surprised about this, because this is book 2 in a series. I DNF'd A Closed and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. This is book 2 in the Wayfarers. I loved the first book in the Wayfarers. I loved it. The first book is, oh man, the long way to a small angry planet. Like I knew it would come to me eventually. I loved that one. I might have even given that one 5 stars, and I was really excited to read through the series. The reason that I DNF'd this, and I think it's just really unfortunate timing, and so that's why this is like a soft DNF. I may come back to it at some point. So the first book centered, like, it focused on the crew of a ship, you know? They're like in space doing science fiction stuff, and it was a very, it was a lovely, like, found family story in like a sci-fi setting, and I really loved it, and I was really excited to continue. Book 2 follows at least 2 of the crew members that were on the ship. I don't know if it includes more because I ended up DNFing this at like the 20% point, but so far up to the 20% point it follows 2 crew members. One of those crew members is an AI, and I am not in the right headspace right now to want to read a story about AI that is specifically like trying to imitate humans. I have a lot that I could say about the current push by companies with AI and the people that are behind it, and my opinions on them and all of these things, but I will not. So I just have a very negative feeling right now, and a lot of concern about the current iteration of AI, how it's being pushed, how it's being used. And this was just unfortunately, like, to see a story specifically about AI where the AI is trying to imitate a human. That, I think, is what really, I was just like, I can't do this right now. It's too raw at the moment for some of the things that I'm seeing happening. So, you know, like, man, I know people like who have lost their jobs because of the current AI push that's happening, and I see every day people that I know who are just trusting AI, and they think that it's like telling them the truth, and don't understand what AI was actually like developed to do, what the benefits of it could be, what its limitations are, more importantly, and like the people and the companies behind this, like, all of a sudden it's being pushed on everybody. And now I'm talking about this and I'm like, I sound like a fucking conspiracy theorist, right? So I really can't talk about this anymore. I'm gonna sound like a crazy person. Bottom line is to say I have some concerns about what's currently happening in the world with the AI push. That's not even getting into the environmental factors of it. So this is a soft DNF. I may come back to this series. I hope I can get to a place where I'd be open to coming back to it, because I really loved the first book, and frankly, like, I don't even know how much of all of what I just said I'm gonna end up editing, because, like, I don't want to sound like a lunatic. And so we'll see how much stays in this video. But yeah, I DNF'd that. So now I'm gonna go through books that I liked the least, and we'll end on the high note, books that I liked the best. And I had overall really good 2 months for reading. Unfortunately though, this next book that I'm gonna mention, not a great book. This was The Bangalore Detective Club by Harini Nagendra. This I rated a 2 stars. So this is a historical murder mystery, which I love historical murder mystery. Like, I like a good whodunit, you know, a good murder mystery, regardless of when it takes place. But specifically, I enjoy historical murder mysteries a lot. Like, I don't know, I want to be taken into the past, even bigger points if it's to a different country than where I live. So I love that kind of thing. This takes place in India, and I was really excited because it's supposed to be kind of the characters are self-aware of like they like detective fiction, and so I was excited to follow along with a murder mystery. I listened to this as an audiobook. I guess I have to disclaim that because I don't know, I guess it's possible I would have felt differently about it if I physically read it. But man, I really did not like this book, and I'm gonna see, because I think I made probably a little succinct note about why I did not like this book. So funnily enough, the biggest reason that I disliked this book was the same reason that I really disliked the other historical fiction book that I read within the past few months. I don't recall the name of that one right now, but editing Erica will put the cover up for that other one. My biggest problem with that other one was, I mean, I had a lot of problems with that one too, but it seemed very self-aware that it was a historical murder mystery. So it was like, it was saying a lot of things in the narrative, like the characters were saying and doing a lot of things with self-awareness, as though they were aware that they are in the past and they, like, some, I don't know, other entity would be like in the present and needing to understand contextual things that were happening in the past. That's the best way I can describe it. This book, unfortunately, suffered the same problem. It was extremely self-aware that it took place in the past, and that completely breaks my immersion when a historical novel does that. So unfortunately, that was the biggest reason that I had an issue like throughout the entire book. If this had not been an audiobook, I would have DNF'd it, but it required like no brain. I don't know, audiobooks, they don't really require a lot of brain power for me to just have on while I'm you know, doing whatever, and I just have something on. Like if I'm not listening to an audiobook, I have a podcast or something normally if I'm just like around the house doing stuff. So it's just kind of for that purpose, and it was super short, so I just let it go. But my other massive issue with this one, the ending was incredibly cliche, and not only was the solution to the murder cliche, but like the villain did this ridiculously stupid, unbelievable villain monologue where they laid out all of their nefarious plans and how they did it and like what they're going to do now to get away with it. It was not it was not. No, I hated it. I rated this a 2-star. Never again. Okay, the next group of books, I guess I should say, the next books I'm going to talk about are actually a group of books because they're all within like the same world. I read several Percy Jackson books, and a couple of these I listened to with audiobooks. So I read Percy Jackson and the Battle of the Labyrinth, Percy Jackson and the Sword of Hades, Percy Jackson and the Last Olympian, and then Percy Jackson and the Chalice of the Gods. The Chalice of the Gods is, it's a book in like the senior year adventures of Percy Jackson, but I'm gonna just like talk about them all together because they go all together. So like the original series, I guess we're calling it, I don't know. Anyway, the original series, like Percy Jackson and the Olympians, it's 5 books, and then that short story that I just included having read as well. Those are all together. Those I liked quite a bit. I would say overall that original series for like Percy Jackson and the Olympians, overall I would rate it a 4-star series. I did not rate every book in the series 4 stars, but for a middle grade fantasy, and I think this is probably, I would consider it like a young middle grade fantasy, I thought that it delivers what it says it's going to. It presents Greek gods in a fun way that this came out way after I was done being a kid, so like I was not of the target demographic age when this came out to know for sure, but I would imagine if you're like a youth, if you're a youth and you're reading this, it probably would inspire a lot of kids to want to know more about the Greek gods, which I think is pretty cool too. having said that, I did not feel like there was really hardly any character development for anyone except maybe Percy throughout the entirety of that original series. And in general, I felt the characters were pretty shallow. I really liked Grover. Grover is probably my favorite of all of the characters. But in general, I felt like the characterization was pretty surface level. It's, you know, a lot of like fast-paced action stuff, very short books. These kids go on an adventure, right? Pretty straightforward. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna continue, and I'll do the senior year adventures too. So I listened to the Chalice of the Gods. I really liked the plot in that one, and I liked that the author is clearly is trying to age the characters up, because I think Percy is 17 maybe in that one, and so you can tell that he's changed some of his, just a little bit of his writing. I guess I don't know if it's qualified as YA or if it's still be middle grade. I would consider it to still be middle grade, but probably like an older middle grade. Regardless, I really liked it. My biggest problem though with it, and I'm like, this is why I don't know if I'm gonna DNF the series at this point or not, because I can't deal with Annabeth anymore. And I can't deal with her. When in like the original series, they're all kids, so like her bad behavior I could overlook, because like they're all kids and kids act out, and you know, I can forgive a lot. She still annoyed me. Child Annabeth still annoyed me, but I'm like, these are children. These are like traumatized children, and they are fictional children. So like, it's fine. It's fine. But now in this, like the senior year series, she is very close to not being a child. She is also like 17. She might be 18. I'm not entirely sure. And she is just the same as she's always been. And like, I can't, it's not entertaining for me to read for like an older teenager like that being really shitty, like having a shitty general attitude to people that she claims she cares about. I find that really hard to read through. It's harder for me to be like understanding of it when these characters are being presented as older. And I think especially because I haven't felt like she's had any character growth through this series. I mean, she's had skill growth. They all have, you know, getting their training or whatever, but she started out the series like acting out, being like bratty and rude and all, and now she still is. Now we've aged up like 5 or 6 years, and she's still exactly the same. And so I don't know, I haven't decided if I'm gonna just like DNF the series, which sucks, because man, I really liked the plot of Chalice of the Gods, but I don't know if I can deal with her. So then I read Turtlebread by Kim Joy. So this one is a graphic novel. I rated this, what did I rate this? 3.5 stars. I really like Kim Joy. Kim Joy was a contestant on the Great British Bake Off, and I just really like her. She's such a positive person, and like just in general, she's such a positive, like pleasant person. I just really like, I loved her on the show. I watch her like little videos from time to time that she does online, and I got to see her, I got to briefly meet her too at Comic-Con, and she was just so sweet in person. And so she came out with this graphic novel, and it's about like trying to deal with your anxiety and, you know, feelings of not being good enough, and trying to figure out how to develop meaningful relationships with people, you know, being able to connect and form your own community. And I thought that this was just a really nice story. The only reason that I rated it 3.5 is because I felt like it just, it didn't go far enough, and like maybe my expectations are probably too high for a graphic novel. And I recognize that. I don't think that this is lacking, and I'm frankly probably, I don't know, probably not the best person to rate something like this, but I read it, so I'm gonna rate it. Mostly I was like, yeah, it's good, but I feel like it could be more. So that was my feeling on it. Really liked the art too. If you have, I don't know, if you have any inclination to pick up a graphic novel that's just kind of like wants to talk about, you know, how learning how to feel and deal with your feelings and like connect to people and stuff. This was a really nice story. And Kim Joy in general, she's just a really positive person from everything that I've seen. So yeah, if she does anything else, I'll be picking it up. I think that she's got baking books and stuff. I really like to bake, but I am not even close to her skill level. The things that she creates are incredible. I couldn't even come close to the kinds of things that she can do. So the next one, oh my god, okay, so I finally finished this. It took me months and months, but I finally finished it. I was determined not to carry it over into 2026. I finished Black Flags Blue Waters by Eric J. Dolin. I rated this a 4-star. This was my nonfiction that I was reading for like, I don't know, 6 months or some shit. This is a book about the golden age of piracy, and actually I thought that this was a really good one if you are fairly, I don't know, if you want something that's going to be easy to read and is going to give you just like an overview of a lot of the like high points of the golden age of piracy. I thought that it was a great choice, very readable. The only reason it took me so long, because like I love pirate stuff, especially, I don't know, I've got like 6 books or something that are nonfiction books about the golden age of piracy. Weirdly, it's like an area that I really want to read about. The reason this took me so long is that I just in general, I'm really struggling with nonfiction at the moment. I need like escapism. I'm too stressed out by a lot of what's going on in the real world. I was talking to my coworker about this the other day, and I'm like, I just need to escape at this point. I need to escape into other lands that are not this one and just like shut off what is happening. And she's in the same boat, like with how she feels about it. So she's like, yeah, I get where you're at, because I'm there too. So yeah, if you're looking for a readable book about the golden age of piracy, this was a good choice. And then I read another book in the Flavia de Luce series. I read A Red Herring Without Mustard. This is by Alan Bradley. This is also a 4-star book. This I think is the 3rd full book in the series. It's a long series at this point. We're 3 books in, so I mean, I won't go into the specifics of what this one is about. This is a murder mystery series. We follow our main character, Flavia. She is, gosh, I think she's maybe 11 or 12. She's young, but this is not a children's series. It's definitely written for adults who like murder mysteries. And so Flavia lives in the English countryside. I believe it's in the early 50s, because the war was just like a fairly, like World War II is a fairly short time before the series takes place, like in their timeline. So they live on this this estate in the English countryside, and much like Miss Marple, murders just keep falling into Flavia's lap that she has to solve. So they're just fun if you want kind of they're funny, but they're not like, I don't know, they're not in your face funny. Kind of British humor funny. I don't know. They're very entertaining murder mysteries. I strongly recommend the series, at least up to this point. I'm going to continue reading it. Oh man. Okay, so I finally finished Everyone This Christmas Has a Secret. This is by Benjamin Stevenson. This is in the Ernest Cunningham, I believe it is, series. This is sort of a novella, And if you've read the first one, it was everyone in my family has killed someone. The second one, I think it was everyone on this train is a suspect. And then I did just see that there's another installment coming out of this series. The next installment I think should be coming out maybe in March, and I'm very excited for it. These are really fun murder mysteries too, and like whodunit, I'm all about it, and they're told like in a very self-aware way, which I also love. Like the narrator of these stories, he's aware that he's writing down how he solved a murder within the so it's a book within a book, which I think when it's executed well is really fun, and this author can execute this concept really well in my opinion. So in this one, it's a novella, and he once again has to solve a murder mystery. What are you gonna do? So I am very excited for the next book. This is, again, so far it's a series, I just have so much fun reading them that I don't know, I'm all in at this point for as many as this author wants to put out. I don't know if I said, but I rated this one a 4-star too. We're still in the 4s at the moment. A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is book 2 in the Shadow of the Leviathan series. I really enjoyed this book. The first book in the series, of course, is The Tainted Cup, and like everybody went nuts for it when it came out. I understand now why they did, because I read The Tainted Cup it must have been in October that I read it, otherwise it would be on this list. I was thinking that I read it maybe earlier, or later, but I guess I didn't anyway. So I loved A Drop of Corruption. It's a murder mystery in a fantasy setting, and I just had a great time. And not just murder mystery, but it's like a Sherlock and Watson murder mystery in a fantasy setting. So we follow the main character, who's we follow along as like the narrator of the story. He's the Watson figure, and then the Sherlock is Anna, and she's very much in the style of Sherlock. Man, I'm gonna try not to block my orange light coming in, because I already got orange and now I got shadows. Anyway, put my hands down. Keep my hands where I can see them. So yeah, I really enjoy this series. I don't know how many books are going to be in this series. I think he does so well getting you immersed into a world that just looks completely different from ours. The society is set up completely differently from what we would be used to, and they do these things where it's almost, I mean, I hate to say mundane, because like our main characters are out here solving like murder mysteries and there's magic and shit, but it's also with the backdrop of like these giant mythical creatures that are literally trying to come out of the sea and come into their realm and like cause just mass destruction of their world, the Leviathans. So it's just fun. It's a fun series, and I'm really excited to read more. I think the next one is coming out maybe like mid next year too, so I'll be reading that. Another series book. Man, I really went hard. Actually, every book, good for me, every book that I still have to talk about is in an ongoing series that I'm reading. So the next one that I read is The Monster of Lightower Library by Morgan Stang. This I read out of order within the series. So there's I believe that this is the gas lamp murder mysteries, not the gaslight murder mysteries. I'll always have to think about that. I believe it's the gaslamp murder mysteries, where once again, this is murder mystery in a fantasy setting. And this was a short story, and it should have been read in the timeline between books 1 and 2, but I did not read it then, because I don't know if I knew it existed then. So didn't read it until after I finished the 3 main books in the series. I really liked this. I think so in this one, our main characters are trying to catch Well, they're going monster hunting because that's really like that's what they do. Our main character. This is yet another Sherlock and Watson duo, but these are both women, and so one of them, she is a monster hunter, and the other one is it's a police officer from what is like their version of Scotland Yard, and they have teamed up, and they they catch monsters and they solve murders, and they do both at the same time sometimes, but that's what they do, and that's what we watch them do. So this one, they were trying to catch some monsters and solve some murders. It was great. It was a great short story. Again, I don't know how many books there are going to be in this series. I don't see any announcement for the next book yet at this point. So, I mean, the author has made like so many options for where the series can go. I can't imagine that it would just end like that, because we're just getting going as far as like the events of the series. So whenever the next book comes out, I will be reading this. Okay, the next 3 installments I'm going to talk about as just one, because they are all within the same series. And so I read, these are by Catherine Addison, and so I read Min Zemrin's Plan. This is a very short story, and I read The Witness for the Dead and The Grief of Stones. I gave Min Zemrin's Plan and The Witness for the Dead 4 stars. I gave The Grief of Stones 4.5 stars. I really love this series. This is tied into The Goblin Emperor, and where I'm reading right now, I think the series, it's like a spin-off series called The Cemeteries of Amalo, or The Cemetery of Amalo, but it can all be read together with The Goblin Emperor because there's a lot of overlap. I mean, obviously with like the culture, the location and everything, but like the people too. So it's just a really interesting world that the author has built, and I get so much enjoyment the more that I read it. It's so easy to immerse yourself in, and just she treats you like she treats you like you're not dumb. She treats you like she's gonna bring you along. She doesn't need to explain a whole lot, and you're just gonna follow along, and that's what happens. Even though, I mean, we're following it's like the characters that are within this world are either like elves or goblins, or maybe there's some like elf goblins, but regardless, so it's very different, obviously, like fantasy world that this is taking place in, but she just does such a great job in bringing the reader into it. And I find myself, even though, like, once again, this is a series that basically revolves around solving murder mysteries, you notice a pattern. I'm noticing a pattern. It's a very, like, I don't know, comforting series to read, which I don't, maybe that doesn't even make any sense. I don't know that it makes sense to me either when I think about it, but it just is. It's a bunch of characters that, like, I'm following, at least our main characters that we follow, they're just like good people trying to do the right thing and really being like mindful of what they do and say and how they deal with people. And it's just a really thoughtful, positive experience to read these books. I've got one more to go in the series, at least as far as like what is currently published, and then I'll be caught up. I, once again, no idea how many books the author's gonna write in this series, but I'll continue to read them. 4.5 stars. I read The Strength of the Few by James Islington. I really enjoyed this book. I read this, I don't know, like maybe 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks after I finished The Will of the Many. I'm so glad that I did, because The Will of the Many, it's it's a pretty straightforward way of telling a story when you go through the Will of the Many until you get to like the last 20% or so, and then shit just like goes off the rails intentionally, but it turns in to like a surprise drop in a roller coaster at that point in the book. And then The Strength of the Few, it continues in a much more complex way than the first book did, and so I'm glad that I read them so close together, because I think it would have been more of a struggle to try to recall details and nuances from the first book that really had a huge impact in The Strength of the Few. I don't know why, I'm getting like stuffed up all of a sudden. Anyway, so if I sound nasally all of a sudden, that's why, and I don't really understand why I'm getting... Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let us carry on. So, the series, I can't talk too much about what the second book is about. Obviously, the first book we follow our main character. Is his name Viz? I feel like it is Viz. I read a lot of books lately that have had like very similar or the same names for characters. So things have been a little confusing the past few months in my reading journey. But we follow our main character in The Will of the Many, and he is a teenager. He is an orphan of mysterious origins, and he gets adopted by this super powerful like politician dude who wants him to go to this very elite academy. And at this academy, he is expected to discover clues and information that will help his adopted father solve the mystery of like what happened to his brother like years ago. So that's what we follow in The Will of the Many. We watch our main character go to this academy, learn secrets, gain skills. Like I said, at about the 80% mark, shit just goes off the rails. And then in the second book, things pick up truly right where they left off in book one, but the narrative takes a very different turn, and that's all I can say without major spoilers. So very worthwhile book. The characterization in this book, in this series, I guess I should say in general, and I know like I named The Will of the Many was one of my top 10 books of the year. I really enjoy the series so far. I'm very excited for the third book to come out. But like one of the things that I can't deny the criticism is that the character work is kind of, I don't know, flat. The characters are there to move the plot forward, and I am normally a person, I really like I want interesting characters. That's what I want to read about. If you give me interesting characters, I could read about them like doing laundry. Like I'll read interesting characters doing anything mundane if they are interesting characters. But in this one, the characters, I don't know, they're really not that interesting or memorable. The main character, I guess, is only because he's the main character and he's got like a lot of shit going on. But as far as like characters that I really am like, oh, this person is just like really cool, or, you know, they're so important or anything, or hope they don't die. There's not really anybody I feel that way about in this series, but I'm okay with the characters being used here primarily just to move the plot forward. It's not bothering me. So I would say even if you're someone who normally is similar to me and you're like, I really can't take these just like generic character stand-ins, I think the series is still worth trying because the world building and the plot and the lore is so interesting. For me, it outweighs the lack of interesting characters. So 4.5 stars. Very excited for book 3, but I think it probably won't come out until 2027, so it is what it is. All right, the last 2 books, I rated both of these 5 stars. and this is just how it's gonna go for, I think, as many of these books now. If things continue, right, the way that they have been, I would not be surprised if I continue to give every book in this series 5 stars. So I read The Eye of the Bedlam Bride and This Inevitable Ruin, both by Matt Dinniman. These are books 6 and 7 in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I have gone on and on and on and on and on about Dungeon Crawler Carl in my videos, in real life. It's taken over my life. I am all in. I'm all in on this story and this fandom. And if you have, I can't say anything about what these 2 books are about because it's books 6 and 7 in a series. So we follow Carl, our main character. He's just a dude, and his ex-girlfriend's cat Donut, as they go through this dungeon, right? And the dungeon is being controlled by aliens, and the aliens film and broadcast the humans going through the dungeon, and they broadcast it to the universe, and it's how they get their entertainment. It sounds deranged when you try to explain it to people, I know, because I am telling everyone I encounter, apparently at this point, I'm talking about Dungeon Crawler Carl. But it just, once you accept, once you make the decision that you're just going to buy in and see what happens, like, it really turns into an incredible series. And so, like, especially reading book 7, I realized just like how emotionally invested I am at this point in the plot and the characters. Like, there's so many points throughout book 7 where I was crying as I was reading it, not necessarily because something bad was happening, but because something like emotionally meaningful was happening, and you care so much about the characters. You've watched them go through all of these things, like struggling and trying to figure out a way to survive. Like, they've lost everything, and it's so, like, the stakes are so high at this stage, and it's just so, it's so good, and it's so impressive, the way that the author has built on this completely insane premise and turned it into something that is just, it's so much deeper than just like, I don't know, lit RPG of some dude and this cat going through a dungeon and fighting monsters, you know? It's just really impressive, and I can't wait. I can't wait to read more. I will read as many books. How many times have I said that in this video? I will read as many books in this series as Matt Dinniman wants to write. Book 8 is coming out in May. I have already pre-ordered my copy, and he also has a non-Dungeon Crawler Carl book coming out in February. Already pre-ordered that too. So it is going to be a I don't know how long it's going to take, obviously, after May for him to put out book 9, but he seems to be cracking through these at a pretty good pace. And like, huge credit to him too. The quality has not gone down. You know, we're 7 books into this series and they just keep getting better. That's so rare. That's so rare for a series where it is not only like solid the whole way through, but actually improving. Somebody tell me another series where that's happened, because I would be so excited to read another series where it's like each installment, you just like, the excitement level just keeps growing, rather than like, I don't know, best case scenario, most of the time you just kind of stay steady. Worse, unfortunately, so often though, quality kind of that's my official analysis. It kind of yeah. So yeah, if anybody knows of another series where the quality stays super high the whole way through, please tell me. And like, not only stays high but gets better and better, please tell me. I'm very open to reading it. Those are all of the books that I read in November and December. We are it's currently like right at the beginning of January, and I mean right at the beginning of January. So I'm going to take a quick look here, talk about some of my current reading plans. So right now, what am I reading? I'm reading Malice by John Gwynne. I'm really into that so far. Frankly, I was expecting more violence, but I'm only, I don't know, I'm only partway through book one. I got a long way to go in in this series. I'm in the middle of The Teller of Small Fortunes. I've kind of decided I'm gonna be using this book and books like this as like maybe reading half at a time as little palate cleansers, because I've got some really I don't know, serious books planned for this year, and I'm gonna need something a little lighthearted to break up some of that. So as soon as I finish Malice, my plan is to finish The Teller of Small Fortunes. I am also planning to continue with the Cosmere this month. And so where am I going to pick up with that? The Alloy of Law, which I believe is book one of like the second Mistborn series. So I'm going in a specific reading order for the Cosmere. So I'm not necessarily reading each series in order. It's a specific Cosmere reading order, but that's the next one. My goal, so my goal is to read one John Gwynne book a month for the rest of this year. So I should be done with that in October. I'm going to continue reading through the Cosmere, so I'll do one Brandon Sanderson every month as well. I will not be done with the Cosmere this year, especially because this man just this guy is relentless. He's on, if I didn't know better, I would say he's on like the Stephen King like 1980s writing plan for how to crank out so many books. But he's so damn wholesome. He's not doing anything except he's like, look, I write books, and then in my free time I write more books. What do you people want from me? Please give me your money. And I'm like, absolutely, sir. You may have my money. So depending on how many this man continues to write, like, I guess I should say at what pace, I should theoretically be caught up on the Cosmere sometime next year. But who knows how many books this man is going to publish between now and then. We'll see. I'm also planning to read The Tomb of Dragons. That's the next book in that Catherine Addison Goblin Emperor Cemeteries of Amalo series, and I'm gonna try to get started on at least one book for bingo, because I've got the bingo deadline is March 31st. I'm not too far away. I've only got, I think maybe like 5 books left to read for bingo. I've been keeping a pretty good pace for that, so I've got to read a few of those. I'm waiting for a couple of books to come up at the library. Brigands and Bread Knives, that's by Travis Baldry. That's another book of Legends and Lattes series, so I'm gonna read that when it gets to be my turn to read that. I'm also gonna read Project Hail Mary. I don't know if it's gonna be this month or not. I'm waiting for, well, I'm first in line on that. I'm basically waiting for a good reading break for where to read that. But I want to read it before the movie comes out. I really liked The Martian, so I've got like really high expectations for that. So as far as January reading, those are like, I don't know, that's kind of a general plan. We'll see how many I get through. It's not a race. Last year was such a good reading year. You know, and I mentioned it too in my video about like my top books of 2025. My average rating was like 4.4, and a big part of that was because like I don't rate books that I DNF. If I rated them as like a 0 or a 1 or something, I know that would bring my average rating down. But like, so generally speaking, if I'm not liking a book, I'm just gonna quit, like just drop it and walk away, because like I don't need that negativity in my life. So that's one of the reasons though that like I think my reading has just gotten better and better, and I'm just always excited to read. And like I said, I'm really looking for that escapism at the moment. So it's just been going along at a pretty strong pace for the books that I'm going through. We'll see if that continues. Hopefully it does, and hopefully I have another really good reading year this year. We'll see what I get through. I'm still prioritizing like series reading and all this stuff. I'm gonna do a series update, I don't know, in the next few weeks at some point, because I've knocked out huge chunks of my series reading. I've made a lot of progress on that with prioritizing it for last year. So anyway, that is all that I have. What was the end of your reading year like in 2025? Did you finish strong? I tried to finish on a really positive note. Like I finished with Dungeon Crawler Carl, Book 8, This Inevitable Ruin, because I knew I was really gonna like it. I'm like, I want to finish the year on a really solid note, so I did, and I'm so glad that I did, because it was just like the perfect way to end the year. And then starting the year reading John Gwynne, which, I mean, this has been an author in a series I've been wanting to read for quite a while now, so just like keeping the positivity going. And yeah, it's just been really good, and hopefully it'll continue into 2026. That's all that I've got for you today. Thank you so much for coming by. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.